Learning English is really quite simple, provided you stay away from concerning yourself with nouns, verbs and correct grammar. You can easily learn how to communicate and how to have a conversation in English with a native English speaking person. 9 times out of 10 you will find that what you are trying to say is easily understood with another English speaking person. This is because we use hand gestures and eye movement when we describe how we talk. The quickest way to learn English is to keep talking and keep practicing speaking. There are no mistakes when you are learning. And as I said, the simplest way is to just keep trying to have a conversation and repeat sentences. In this example, we shall just look at having a brief conversation, a simple conversation, and different ways how to say words and sentences. For example, I want to go on holiday. Let's go on holiday. I want to book a holiday. Shall we book a holiday? Shall we go on holiday? Where shall we go on holiday? As you can see, we just used the word holiday and we're talking to a friend and asking questions, but there's many ways you can say the same thing, and really it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong, grammatically correct or grammatically wrong, as long as you understand what you're saying and you try to make it clear to the other person you are speaking with. So if I say to you, shall we go on holiday, or would you like to go on holiday, I would like a holiday, you will know what I am asking you and you will know how to respond. You could say, yes, I would like to go on holiday. Yes, we could go on holiday. That sounds a great idea to go on holiday. So to learn English quickly and efficiently so that you can understand what other people are saying and more importantly what they are saying to you, just try to have conversations with each other or listen to these videos and try to repeat things that I say. You will notice that I am an English speaking English person, and Americans will speak English slightly different, as will Australians English speaking also speak slightly different. But this is English speaking tutorial from England. So now we've understood, to learn English the simplest and quickest way is just to try and talk to your friends or people on the telephone, or speak out aloud, or to listen to repetitive sentences and try and repeat what you are saying. But when you repeat, try to understand what you are saying, and more importantly, never worry about making a mistake. Another example, the weather. A very hot topic in the UK. The weather today is sunny. Or we can say, it is sunny today. It is very warm today. It is a lovely day. The sun is shining bright. All these things, and there are many, many more ways of saying the same thing, all mean the same thing, and you will quickly get understood. I would like a cup of coffee. Can I have a cup of coffee? Can you make me a cup of coffee? Again, there's variations there, all saying the same thing. I am not concerned at this moment with grammar or the right tenses. All these things are not important. What is important for you is to learn how to communicate, how to talk English, how to be understood, and all these finer points of verbs, adjectives, nouns, pronouns, etc., etc. can be learnt much, much later on, if needed ever at all. Most people need to just learn how to communicate effectively, how to have a conversation. When you're listening to English people or American people talking English, you will find they also say words and sentences in many ways that may not be grammatically correct because we use slang or slang, which is an abbreviation of the wrong way of saying things in our own dialect. So just try to remember you can never make mistakes when you are trying to learn English. To improve your spoken English, the best thing to do is talk with a native English speaker. If you don't have anyone to talk to, the second best option is to listen to tutorials like this and try to have a conversation and answer questions or repeat the words and sentences spoken to you. Sometimes we don't have that option though. And what if you don't know anyone who speaks English? And what if you don't have the time? What if you simply don't feel confident enough to practice on your own, or you don't have the privacy? All these things become problems because nobody wants to try and sing a song in front of people if they don't know the words or feel they cannot sing. The same applies to learning and speaking English. But don't worry, because really you will find that learning English and speaking English becomes very easy. The difficult thing about talking in a language isn't the language itself, but how you think about it. And it's very important to try and think in the language that you are trying to learn. If you think in your native language and then try to speak English, you'll always have to translate between languages. Translating isn't an easy thing to do. Even people fluent in 2 or more languages have trouble switching between each language. The solution to do this and think English is really quite a simple technique. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Try to use English when you're thinking about your day, your daily activities, your every day you do something or try to create something or try to have a conversation with somebody else. Or when you're trying to decide what food to order or what to make for dinner. Even try to use English to English dictionary to look up words. That way you never have to use your native language and translate words. Try talking to yourself. Whenever you're at home or alone somewhere else, in the car, in the bathroom, wherever you are, you can practice your English with your favourite person. And your favourite person is yourself. Create an imaginary partner to have a conversation with. Try using a mirror. When you're in the bathroom, stand in front of the mirror and ask the mirror, this other person in front of you, simple questions. Hello, what is your name? How are you? What have you been doing today? Where do you work? Where do you come from? The point of these simple exercises is to watch your mouth, face and body language as you speak. It also makes you feel like you're talking to someone. Now, you probably already do this in your own language, so it's very easy to do this also in another language. We all talk to ourselves and we all ask ourselves questions, so you can try and do this in the language that you're trying to learn, English. What is your favourite colour? My favourite colour is blue. How many days a week do you work? I work 7 days a week. That's a lot of days. Do you ever get any days holiday? Not really, but because I work for myself, I can decide at the last minute to take a vacation or to take a rest holiday or to take a day off. Also, another trick, you can try tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are an English expression for complicated sentences that deliberately try to train how your mouth and tongue move when you are talking. Tongue twisters are a series of words that are difficult to say quickly. One example is, the 33 thieves thought they thrilled the throne throughout Thursday. Now, even for an English person, that's hard. I had to read that myself. If you try saying that a few times when you get more confident, it's not easy. It's certainly not easy for an English person, and you definitely wouldn't be able to recite this from memory. Listen and repeat. Try listening and repeating what other people say. Listen to the radio, listen to the news channels, listen to these tutorials. Just keep repeating and listening, and you will find very quickly, I promise you, you'll find it very quickly, you'll be speaking English within a matter of weeks or months, and you'll be surprising yourself how easy it is. Now, I'm going to repeat what I've probably just said right at the very beginning before we start doing some exercises, is that when you speak English or American English or English, there is no correct or wrong way. You cannot make a mistake. The only mistakes you can make is if you concern yourself with pure English grammar, what we call here the Queen's English. And in this day and age, very few people do this, and very few people would even care or would even notice. So if I said to you, it's a sunny day, the sun is shining, it's a hot day, the sun is bright, the sky is blue, it's warm outside, all these things make sense and they mean the same thing. Effectively, it means it's a nice day. And if I'm talking to you and I'm saying to you, the sky is blue, the sun is out, sun is shining high, etc., etc., you have a pretty good idea of what I am saying to you. So the point I'm making there is, do not concern yourself with grammar at this stage. Don't make something too complicated, because all we want to do is have a conversation. If I meet you in the street, if I met you in the street in my town and I wanted to have a conversation with you, or you wanted to ask me the way to the station, you would say to me, hello, can you tell me the way to the station, please? Or you could say, which way is the station? Or how do I get to the station? And many ways after that. And to be honest with you, whichever way you said, as long as you said the station, I would know what you're talking about. And already you have communicated. So if we use the station scenario, the station example, as a conversation, we can say, can you tell me the way to the station, please? How far is the station? Which is the best way to get to the station? How long will it take me to get to the station? Do you go to the station this way? Can I get to the station that way? Is there a bus? Is there a bus that takes me to the station? Can I get a bus to the station? Can you take me to the station? Can I walk to the station? And so forth and so forth, etc., etc. Now, when you get to the station, you're going to ask the man behind the counter that sells train tickets at the customer service till questions on your travel plans. So here we can say, I need a ticket to take me to London, please. How much is a ticket to London, please? How long will it take to get to London? When is the next train to London? Are there many trains that run this time of day to London? And so by now I think you get the understanding that there's many ways you can say the same thing, or ask the same question, or be understood, or make somebody understand what you need or want. So the point really in this first 10 minutes of speaking is to try to really get you to understand there is no right or wrong way, and not to worry about how you say things. The best thing to do is just to keep talking, keep practicing, keep trying to read things if you can, so you can see the words in your mind, and try to have blind conversations, either in your mind or in front of a mirror or with yourself, or with somebody else who is trying to learn English as well, and also try to talk out aloud, try to listen to the words you say. Now, if I was say if I was an English person trying to learn French, I might say Je voudrais un café au lait. Now that is probably quite wrong to a French person, but that French person would definitely understand I'm trying to say I would like a cup of coffee with milk. And having made him understand that I want a cup of coffee with milk, and he brings me a cup of coffee with milk, he's happy, I'm happy that we have communicated, and he understands what I'm saying. He's pleased that I've tried to speak his language, and I'm very pleased that I've got a cup of coffee with milk and not a loaf of bread with chocolate sauce on the top. Just a silly example. Again, I'm going to say this, repeat this again in a different way. Grammar and vocabulary are things you can learn in your own time, at your own pace, at your own speed. You do not need to pay money to improve your grammar or vocabulary, so don't waste your money. And most of the time, people will still understand what you are saying if you are making small grammatical errors, or even big ones. It doesn't really matter, because when we talk to another person, as I said, you're using your body language to put your point across. However, speaking English clearly, confidently and fluently is something you can't master on your own. You need opportunities to practice your native English with other people, colleagues, friends, online tutorials like this, and just generally talking out aloud. In this short statement, I'm going to talk about something that is really quite simple. In the park, I can see two dogs and a woman throwing a ball. In the park, there are two dogs chasing a ball. The woman is throwing the ball, and the two dogs are running after the ball. And now, you can see I've said this in 3 different ways, and you know what I'm talking about. Dogs are chasing a ball, and the woman is throwing the ball, and the dogs are chasing this ball all over the park. The roads are very busy today. The streets are full of cars. The traffic on the roads is very heavy. The traffic is going very slow today. It's going to take me a long time to get to the other side of the city because there are so many cars on the roads. Again, I've said pretty much the same thing, that there's a lot of cars on the roads are busy, and I've said this in 3 or 4 different ways. Often, if you are not familiar with the language and you do not speak confidently in the English language, or any language for that matter, it's quite hard to start a conversation. But here are 3 things that you can do. 1. Get people to wait for you. Use phrases that get people's attention and which make them wait for you. I'll say that again. Use phrases that gets people's attention and which makes them wait for you. For example, you can say, well, I think, and then pause, just have a few seconds break. Well, I think. These short phrases also give you time to think about how you're going to finish your sentence. So if somebody says to you, what kind of job would you like to do? you can then reply, well, I think, and pause, I would like to be a fireman. I would like to be whatever you want to say. Number 2, again, we're talking about how to start a conversation. You can interrupt politely. Often you can wait for a natural pause in the conversation that you're listening to jump in with what you want to say. But if there isn't space in the conversation, for example, there's 2 other people that are talking fluently and they're talking about something quite deep and intense, you can say something like, yes, you're right, or may I just say, or that's interesting. Again, you're going to take a break, a few seconds, pause, because that other person is going to stop and think what you may about to be saying. It's a good idea to interrupt a person by saying that you're agreeing with them, because generally people like to be agreed with. People like other people to agree with what they're saying. So the interruption doesn't seem a negative or hostile. So if, for example, I am talking about the journey to the city centre was very busy today, it's full of traffic, you can say, yes, I agree, and the bus journey, blah, 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 took just as long. Rewind the conversation for number 3. Number 3, you can say, you can rewind the conversation a little bit. You can go back to a few sentences before in a conversation, because native English conversations move fast. You sometimes need to find a way to go back to a previous topic so that you can make your contribution or make sense of what has been said, or try to understand what has been said. In any language, we flip from one subject to another, and particularly in the English language, we talk very fast and we cover many subjects, so the conversation can rapidly change. This happens particularly if you only remember the right word or expression after the conversation moves on. It might seem strange to start a conversation by going backwards, but in fact native speakers do this all the time. Say something like, going back to what you're saying about the traffic in the morning, for example, this will help you, because that person will then stop and pause and appreciate that we are repeating what we've spoken about 5 minutes before. Yes, the traffic was bad in the morning, but in the afternoon the traffic was much better. These are just examples, trying to help you with the basic understanding of conversation, and never to feel that you're going to say anything incorrect or out of place or out of turn by wanting to break into a conversation, repeat the conversation, or go backwards. In the next video tutorial, I'm going to be asking you questions in various different ways so that you can answer them. Try to answer them in your own words, and moreover try to repeat the questions to yourself. So take a look at our next video, which will be called Simple English Speaking number 2.